April 2026, something strangely familiar started happening in public spaces across the world. A mockingjay statue draped in flowers and moss appeared in Millennium Park, Chicago. Days later, a snake sculpture wound its way around Times Square wrapped in butterflies and ivy. No brand logos, no film title, just the quote, "Hoping for something better could be dangerous." This is capital propaganda, and it's working just as intended. We're sharing it, speculating about it, and doing the Capitol's job for them. Lionsgate is marketing Sunrise on the Reaping, premiering in November, the way the Capitol itself would market the Hunger Games, building dread and beauty in equal measure. And if you know your Hunger Games history, you know this isn't the first time Lionsgate has understood exactly how to sell Panem to the world. Let's talk quickly about the fragrance history of the Hunger Games franchise, what they did before, what they're doing now, and what I think is coming next. So 2015, Mockingjay Part 2, the final film in the original trilogy. Lionsgate needed merchandising revenue to offset the enormous production budget. And they made a decision that most studios wouldn't have the imagination to make. Rather than slap a Mockingjay logo on a body spray and call it a day, they created Capital Couture, a functioning Tumblr account operating as an in-universe Capital propaganda machine. They had fashion editorials, beauty tutorials, style guides, all presented as if they were published by the Capitol itself. It blurred the lines between the dystopia of Panem and the reality of the reader in a way that was genuinely disorienting and genuinely brilliant. The fragrance set that came out of this wasn't prestige perfumery, it was a mass market ploy aimed squarely at the teenage fan base. The bottles were more collectible than the juice itself, but the concept of selling scent as an extension of an in-universe world rather than as a film tie-in was ahead of its time. They were treating fragrance as a piece of the storytelling rather than just merch. In my very first episode, I covered how Dynasty's fragrance was so tied to the world of the show, the proximity to power, that it caused a riot at Bloomingdale's. They did the same thing in 1984. Fans didn't just want to smell good, they wanted to inhabit the show, and Lionsgate followed that exact same playbook with Capital Couture a generation later. So fast forward to March 2026, Lionsgate dropped two fragrance collaborations simultaneously, both through Scentbird, and their choice of partner is worth examining. Scentbird is a subscription-based fragrance discovery platform with over 1 million subscribers. Their model is built around turning fragrance into a cultural experience. Limited edition, story-driven drops that generate excitement, deepen loyalty, and pull new people into the ecosystem. So they're not a department store fragrance counter, they're a fandom delivery service. And first up was John Wick. Notes of striking gunmetal accord and amber bourbon, which is exactly what John Wick should smell like. The IP alignment is perfect. And next was Twilight, a floral amber scent. The Sunrise campaign started with those floral mockingjay and snake installations. No logo, no title, just the world of Panem arriving before the film does. This is the Capitol propaganda machine reactivated, and it's even more sophisticated than Capital Couture in 2015 because it's happening in our physical space rather than just online. The book itself is saturated in florals, flowers as the Capitol control. The floral installations aren't a coincidence, they're the scent brief. So what does the fragrance look like? Here's my forensic read. Given Lionsgate's established Scentbird partnership and their pattern of dropping fragrances ahead of or alongside new content releases, a Sunrise on the Reaping and Scentbird fragrance seems not just likely, but inevitable. And what would it smell like? Based on the book's imagery and the Capitol aesthetic, I'm thinking heavy florals. Something opulent and slightly threatening, like a lush, milky floral with a dark, poisonous undertone. Maybe even something insidious like gumdrops and roses. But there is another possibility. Elle Fanning is a lead in Sunrise on the Reaping, and she's also a long-standing L'Oreal ambassador. Beauty contracts like that often shape who gets to put their name on a movie's official scent. Lionsgate could potentially launch a more niche sunrise fragrance through Scentbird and a more mass market fragrance through L'Oreal. As of March 2026, the fragrance trademark is pending. The question for Sunrise isn't whether there will be a fragrance, it's where will it come from and what will it smell like? If you were in charge of the Sunrise brief, what would you put in the bottle? Let me know.